for tomorrow's program, and I'll have to let audience.
No, just let's go directly to the ahkam. Don't put the banner. Let's go to the ahkam, and
Okay.
after that you can put the banner, inshallah.
Sounds very good. Okay.
I want to finish soon before 8, so.
Hey, you are all. Okay. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Today is 29th of Ramadan, and welcome to the program of ICZ Daily Ramadan program. We have a special program today on Ahkam of Zakat and Fitra. Seyed Hadi Yassin will enlighten us on this topic. Before I invite him, as usual, I would like you guys to recite a Surah Fatiha and 3 times Surah Ikhlas for all marhumin. Include those for whom there is no one to recite Fatiha, your own marhumin, and those whose names are on the monument of Zara. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Agha, it's all yours.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبو القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى لقاء يوم الدين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. May Allah inshallah accept all our amal, our dua, our fastings, our ibadat inshallah in the holy month of Ramadan. May Allah inshallah bless you all and keep you all healthy and salamat inshallah. So as promised, tonight we will have the ahkam of Zakat al-Fitr inshallah. Many people ask a lot of questions about Zakat al-Fitr. I would like to inshallah review the majority of the ahkam. I'm going to go through the books of ahkam to make sure we cover everything, and probably around 8 or 8:05 or something like that I will end inshallah. So we'll have those that they would like to go for moon sighting inshallah, this great tradition. They will have time inshallah to go for the moon sighting. So inshallah we will start with that. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajjal faraj. Let's go with the basics of first, Zakat al-Fitra, which is wajib, Zakat al-Abdan, that it's wajib for anyone to pay this charity, and the acceptance of Roza and fast actually depends on that. I'm going to go through the inshallah al-ahkam, not every single, but those who are related inshallah, to make sure we cover inshallah everything. A person who at the time of sunset, means the ghurub, the eve of Eid al-Fitr, has this kind of characteristics and factors or conditions, the paying fitrah would be wajib fitrah. Number one, should be baligh. We know baligh should be sane, not insane. Shouldn't be poor. It's very important. Shouldn't be poor, which we'll talk about what is poor, what is not poor. And shouldn't be abd servant, which is not in our situation. Must give on his behalf and on behalf of the dependents on him 1 sa', which is approximately 3 kilograms. The 3 kilograms that in pound will be 6.6 pounds of, give 3 kilograms of food. We're going to say what is the food per head to someone who is entitled to receive zakat. We will talk about it, who is entitled to receive zakat. The food that he gives must be considered to be a staple food in his town. This is important. In his town, such as, mashallah, our community, biryani is ghut ghalib. The bread is ghut ghalib, right? Definitely a few times a week, maybe you use biryani, right? So the rice, not biryani. The rice, because you use the rice a lot, the majority of us Middle Easterns they use. So, or bread, the wheat is as well. But just for the sake of ihtiyat, we go with rice, for example. Rice is the staple food. We use all of us a lot. So we go with the amount of 3 kilos, 6.6 pounds of rice, for example, in our society that we use. So this is number one that is important. So we said that if he's not faqir, if someone is faqir, then this person is not wajib for the faqir to pay the zakat of it, right? Who is faqir? A person who cannot meet his and his family's living expenses for 1 year, does not have an occupation. There are two things. Sometimes you have money in your account for the whole year. Okay, so you're not faqir, right? You know that you have saving, you're not faqir. Second, you don't have saving. MashaAllah, you bought a house, you don't have any saving for the whole year, but you have job, occupation. So you have the means to provide for yourself. You're not faqir as well. Or occupation by which he can meet his or his family's expenses for 1 year. Then such a person is poor if he cannot provide for a year, and it's not obligated for him to pay the zakatul fitra, right? All right. A person must give fitra on behalf of all those who are considered to be his dependents at the time of the sunset of, okay, we talked about it, remember, we reviewed in this night, so I'm going over them again. The time of wujub of zakat al-fitr is when, brothers and sisters, the eve of the Eid. So we don't know, inshallah, we're still working to make sure we have all the authentic confirmation to see if tomorrow is Eid or not. So for example, if tomorrow if Eid and we'll announce it, after the Maghrib of tonight, will become wajib to pay or put it aside, right? At the time of sunset of Eid al-Fitr, irrespective of whether they are young, old, Muslim, non-Muslim, disbelievers, kafir, and whether it's obligatory on him to pay for their living expenses or not, whoever is the dependent of the breadwinner, the person, the mu'id, the one who has to pay, he has to pay. Or if the wife, if the mother is the one who's in charge, has to pay for themselves and for all the dependents. They have to pay. So it doesn't matter if the dependent, for example, is in their house, is somewhere else, is, I don't know, for example, a college student is somewhere else, they have to pay. This is important, right? So that's one thing. Let me see if this side and this part we have anything else to talk about. So we talk about the faqir, we talk about we have to pay before the the qurub of the before the azan of the Eve of the Fitr. All right. So this amazing question that a lot of people ask about what? About guests. Many people are scared. Ya Allah, what should you do with the guest? Many people don't have any iftari in the night of Eid or something. So here's the thing. I'm going to again go through it to make sure we all see exactly how it is. It is obligatory on one to give the fitrah of a guest who arrives at his house before the sunset of the eve of the Eid al-Fitr and spends the nights at his place and is considered to be his dependent, even though temporary. If someone comes to your house, for example, it's before Azan right now, and if tomorrow, we say that tomorrow is it, right? Someone comes before the Azan of the eve of Eid al-Fitr and stays with you for the whole night, and you provide the situation for their comfort and stuff, even though you don't give them the food, they bring their own food, right? So because they stay with you and they're your temporary dependent on that night, then it's wajib for you, no matter how many there are, to pay their zakat, mashallah, inshallah, yeah. But if they don't stay with you, no, they just came for food, for iftar, and they're living after iftar. That's it. If they're not your dependent, you don't have to pay their zakat al-fitr. So it's important to be considered your dependent, because the Maraj said before it was a lot of back and forth issues, who is guest, who's not guest, and Maraj explained very clearly. Now they're saying that when someone stays with you that night, it will be considered your guest. If they don't stay, just come for food, they're not your dependent, they're your guest. So it's not wajib for you to pay their zakat al-fitr. Is that clear? Alhamdulillah. Ahsant. So let me see what are other good ahkam and related to us in this section. All right. So some other people have a question and ask about how about, for example, the baby who is in mother's womb? Is it wajib, janeen and baby in the mother's womb, in rahim? Is it wajib to pay their zakat of that or not? No. If the baby is in the womb and it's not born before the azan, no, it's not wajib. MashaAllah. If they're born before, yes, they have to pay the zakat of the baby. And if it's born after the qurub aftab and the sunset, it's ihtiyat wajib to pay as well. All right. So another important hukm here is that, brothers and sisters, that if the zakat of yourself is wajib for you and your dependent are wajib for you, right? It's wajib on you. Even if they pay, it's still wajib on you. So you are the important one that you have to pay, right? So it's wajib for who? For you to pay. Unless, for example, that person is taking your permission and you know that person would give the money to the faqir. Remember what we said, the faqir, we're going to talk about to who we have to give. Stay with me. We're going to say who would deserve, who would be eligible to receive zakat of it. Unless that person, with your permission on behalf of you, or have your wakalat, give to that person, yes. Otherwise, and other than that, if someone pays on behalf of you, you still have to pay it. So that's important, right? They said if the situation is not clear, if, for example, there are two breadwinners that they don't know who has to pay, then if one of them, on behalf of the other one, with the permission of them, pay the fitra of the dependent, will be enough for all. That's another thing. So now go to the topic of where and how we can use the zakat al-fitr, right? Who would be deserved and who will be eligible to receive the zakat al-fitr? We said fuqara, faqir. Number one should be faqir. And we said faqir, who is the faqir? They don't have the income or the expenses for the whole year. This is faqir, right? Or the means to provide. They don't have job enough to provide for the year. That's faqir. But the faqir should be Shia. According to our ahkam and maraja, the faqir should be Shia faqir, right? And many of the maraja, and they have the condition, the Shia faqir doesn't have to be adil, just, but this should not use this faqir, the money of fitra that receives in anything haram. That's the condition. If you know someone is faqir, but they might use it in something haram, you cannot give it to them. You have to make sure they're not using it in haram way. They're using it in just regular expenses that they have. And that's important. Once you, what is the wajib things? We said 3 kilograms, 6.6 pounds of, let's say, rice. So either you give 6.6 pounds of rice to the faqir, bismillah, there you go. Or you give them money, the monetary value of the what? The 6.6 pounds of the values that they have to, you have to give, right? That's enough as well. So in this case, if they use the money, the faqir use the money for anything that they want. It's their own money. It's not yours anymore. It's their own money. So they can use it. It's different than fidya, that you have to definitely give food to the faqir. So that's different. Or the kafara is different. But here is that what? You just give the money, for example, to faqir. And it's up to them however you want to, they want to use them. And then Marj is saying, if you cannot find the faqir Shia in your home, the place, the hometown that you are right now, then you'll be able to give it to any of Muslims, but we have to make sure they're not nasibi. Nasibi are those people who actually curse Ahlul Bayt. We shouldn't give them to those people. So again, we shouldn't give it to faqir that doesn't be namaz, doesn't pray, sharab khar, who drink alcohol and stuff like that, and use it for ma'siyat and haram. We shouldn't give it to them. Another hukm is that it's ihtiyat al-mustahab, not to give, or overall, not to give less than one sa, less than 6.6 pounds of, let's say, for example, rice, not less than that to faqir. At least one sa, which is 6.6, 3 kilograms. But it's okay to give more than that. Let's say, I don't know, let's say 3 times of 6.6, or whatever it is, give it to one faqir. But there is a situation, I remember they said that it shouldn't be more than the expense of the year for the faqir. But that's the condition you can consider. Now, mashallah, a good question that a lot of people ask about Sayyid, non-Sayyid. And I know a lot of misunderstanding we have here. In the email that we sent you, I'm going to actually read from the email that we just sent you an hour ago or so. So you see what we said. We said that, let me bring it. Okay. A person who is not a Sayyid cannot give the fitrah to a Sayyid. So far we know this. Everybody know, mashallah. That's what we have when we go to the Eid, 2 boxes, right? Or when you want to pay online, we have mandatory, you mentioned Sayyid or not Sayyid. So far everyone knows. And even if that Sayyid is his dependent, he cannot give that Sayyid fitrah to non-Sayyid, to another Sayyid, sorry. Did you hear? If the breadwinner, if the mu'il, let's say the father, the husband is the one who is in charge of paying the zakat for the whole family and the aila, right? If he's non-Sayyid, the money goes to non-Sayyid, even if his wife is Sayyid. That's the place many people make a mistake. Oh, my wife is Sayyid, so I have to give the fitrah of my wife to Sayyid. No, you cannot. And if you do, you have to pay it. So you, the one who pays, is important. If you are non-Sayyid, the money goes to who? The money of zakat al-fitr of yourself, your children, your dependent, and your Sayyid wife goes to non-Sayyid because you are non-Sayyid. Opposite is different. If breadwinner or mu'il is Sayyid, the fitra amount can go to either Sayyid or non-Sayyid, regardless of dependence status of Sayyid or non-Sayyid. Is that clear? Because that's zakat. If you are Sayyid, you can pay. Even your Sayyid, your wife is non-Sayyid. What did we say? The one who pays matters. That's important. If the breadwinner of the house is a wife, and she has a husband and children, she is Sayyid, and husband is not Sayyid, the same thing. She can pay because she's Sayyid, pay to Sayyid, even the husband is not Sayyid. So we have to understand this. Let me, in parentheses, mention another hook that I know is going to shock you. Many people in our cultures, many of our cultures, not just Pakistani cultures, Indian cultures, Iranian cultures, Afghani cultures, they have this wrong idea. They think because we have Sayyid, non-Sayyid in Zakat al-Fitr, they think Sadaqah Mustahabi is the same thing. What is Sadaqah Mustahabi? Mustahab, you give Sadaqah, it's not wajib. Wajib is mandatory to pay. That's Zakat al-Fitr, right? But Sadaqah Mustahab, you just pay for the sake of Allah to give it to Faqir, right? In that case, if it's Sadaqah Mustahab, recommended Sadaqah you pay, you can give it to Sayyid, even if you're not Sayyid. This is the person people make a mistake, right? Zakat al-Wajib, you can give it to Sayyid if you're not Sayyid. But Sadaqah Mustahab, you can give it to Sayyid as well. However, Marajis such as Ayatollah is saying, make sure that it's not, even if you're not Sayyid, you want to give it to Sayyid, your Sadaqah Mustahab, make sure it's not little amount to disrespect it. Make sure it's at least respectful. All right, so that's about Sayyid, non-Sayyid, that a lot of people had question about this, right? Let's see what else are important to talk about. Again, those who just came, inshallah, I'm going to wrap up, let's say another 15 minutes. So we will have time, inshallah, those who would like to go for moon sighting, they can have this time to go for the sunnat hasana, inshallah, to go for moon sighting. Oh, another question. Can I give the money to someone else, somewhere else, the faqir? The Maraji is saying that if you have the faqir Shia in your town that you're living, the place, the area that you're living, ihtiyat wajib is that you don't send it anywhere else. Faqir Shia here, you have to give it to them. Especially when you pull out the money, you put it away, that you said this money should go to the faqir, you shouldn't do that, right? Unless there is no faqir in your town, you can find a faqir in your town, then you can send it somewhere else to give it to faqir that is somewhere else. What else do we have here? I'm going to make sure I cover the majority of those important related topics. Another thing's about when should we pay? We mentioned, according to Ayatollah Sistani, you can pay during month of Ramadan as well. Although it's better not to, and you have to pay the eve of Eid al-Fitr, right? But such as Ayatollah Khamenei says, no, you have to wait for the eve of the Fitr and then pay. That's why, inshallah, if tonight will be the night, the eve of Fitr, Eid al-Fitr, then after the Maghrib, when we announce, you have the chance, inshallah, go online to pay it, inshallah. And the time is this, the max. You can pull out the money at the night of Eve, the max. For people who want to pray Eid al-Fitr Salat tomorrow, inshallah, we're going to have Eid al-Fitr. If tomorrow is Eid, inshallah, we'll confirm it through the email to you. If you want to pray Eid al-Fitr Salat, you have to pay before. Remember, before. You go online, you pay before, right? But if you don't pray, it's mustahab. Salat Yawm al-Eid is mustahab, it's not wajib. At the time of Imam, Huzur of Imam of us, inshallah, will become wajib. But at our time, it's mustahab. If you don't pray Salat Eid al-Fitr, then until the Zuhr, you have time to pay it or give it to faqir. If you already pull out your money, put it somewhere, you cannot exchange that money with anything else. Let's say you pull out the amount, we call it $15 per person, right? You pull out, let's say $30 for you and your wife. You cannot exchange that money. You cannot give that money should be given to the faqir or to someone who will reach it to give it to faqir, right? But if you pull it out, and in parentheses again, if you lose it, you have to pay again. Doesn't matter. You can't say, oh, I put it and say, no, you have to pay again. But if you pull it out, the zakat al-fitr, even after Zuhr of the day of Eid, you can pay it. With the same niyyah, you can pay it to faqir. But if you didn't pull it out, and you didn't pay it in the Eids before the Azan or before the Salat, after Azan, when you want to pay, Maraj are saying, pay it with the niyyat of not ada and not qadha. The niyat ma fi zimma. Meaning what? Because I don't know if it's wajib now, it's not wajib. What is the niyyah? So pay with the niyyat of whatever it's obligatory on you, you have to pay that amount to the faqir, inshallah. Okay, that's another thing we covered. And again, we have to make sure we should not be neglectful about and have negligence about paying the zakat al-fitr, unless there are logical, reasons that I'm, waiting. There's no possibility right now. There's something that we have to go through that. All right. So again, you can pay the zakat al-fitr yourself, which is wajib for you to pay it yourself, or you can give it to someone like a vakil on behalf of you, to give it to someone who can reach, and you trust that person, reach to the faqir, that money, give to the faqir, the shari faqir that we talk about, right? Yourself or someone good. That's why most of the centers that we have, they give to the center and they trust the center to give it to the faqir on behalf of them. Brothers and sisters, here's the point, very important. If you give the money to someone who is not faqir, shar'an faqir. Don't say, oh, I have a cousin somewhere that they are struggling. No, shar'an faqir. What was the shari definition of faqir? Remember? I just said that. Someone who, a poor person who cannot and does not have the expenses of the year, or doesn't have any mean to be able to provide, cannot meet his or his family's expenses for the whole year, and doesn't have any occupation, any job or anything to pay. This is the faqir for the whole year, right? So in this case, you have to make sure that's faqir. If you give the money to someone, later on you realize, oh my God, they were not faqir, or they lied to you. if you gave the actual substance, let's say the rice, and they used it and they ate it, nothing, you have to pay it from your own pocket again to the right person. If you give the money to them and you realize they're not faqir, they're not eligible to receive it, you take back. And if there's no money, you have to pay it again out of your pocket. That's why it's very important to do research to make sure, they're actually Shari'i faqir. There are a lot of, back and forth and research about this to make sure Shar'an they're faqir. That's why it's very big responsibility to make sure. The same thing, if you give it to non-Sayyid, to Sayyid, and that was a mistake, and you shouldn't, pay to someone else, you have to take the money back. If there's no money, you have to pay it out of your pocket again. So make sure that you pay it. Of course, it is mustahab to consider your fuqara of your family first, any faqir in the family that you have. However, you can pay the zakat al-fitr to wajibun nafaqa. That's important. What is not wajibun nafaqa? Your father, your mother, if they're faqir, your grandparents if they're faqir, your children if they're faqir, as a grown up but they're faqir, they're wajibun nafaqa. Your wife, your husband, they're wajibun nafaqa. If they're your wajib al-nafaqa and they're faqir, no, you cannot give them the zakat. Why? Because it's wajib for you to pay for the expenses, right? So you can't hit two aims with one shot, right? No, you cannot give your sadaqah, your zakat al-jariyah, zakat al-fitra to your wajib al-nafaqa, the one that you have to pay for their expenses. Let me see if there's anything else. Yeah, a person cannot give fitra to someone who says he is poor unless he is confident that what he says is the truth, or he knows that he was poor, and he has the knowledge about it. That's the important part that makes it, inshallah, important to pay attention and do research about it. The intention is that, again, qurbatan ilallah, for the sake of Allah, to pay the zakat al-fitra, which, inshallah, all of us, we have it. And I think we mostly covered everything. Yeah. So again, if you put the money aside and you didn't have time to pay yet, and then you lose money, the money, you don't know what happened to it, blah, blah, blah. So you need to pay it. You can't say, oh, I just put it, you to pay it. So again, for 2020, inshallah, this year, as they send the email to you, I'm going to go through the email again. So the zakat al-fitra, inshallah, is going to be the 3 kilograms. We'll consider the rice, or 6.6 pounds, which is, inshallah, the equivalent of that is $15 per person. $15 per person that you have to pay, inshallah. Again, that's the duty that we have, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would give the thawab and reward for paying that, inshallah. Let me see if there's anything in the istifta'at about zakat al-fitr. Any other questions? Yeah, so we covered, alhamdulillah, overall the majority of the ahkam of zakat al-fitra. And yeah, so remember, zakat al-fitr is something, brothers and sisters, that is wajib. So if someone didn't pay zakat al-fitr in other years, amdan, purposely or not purposely, they forgot or they didn't care, God forbid, or something, still they owe. They still owe, they have to pay it, right? So it's not that, oh, I forgot to pass, no. But we said zakat al-fitr is wajib who has those conditions. Remember the condition we said, someone who is not faqir, someone who is not apt, someone who is conscious, and someone who is aqil and baligh. If this person doesn't, finish with this, inshallah. Someone who has this condition, let's say a father, God forbid, he doesn't pay. The zakat fitr of children, right? And his ayat. Some of the Maraj are saying that it's not wajib for the children because it's not wajib for them. It was wajib for the father to pay. But Ayatollah Sistani, he's saying that if the other conditions that we mentioned is all in the dependent, it's wajib for them to pay. Let's say the son has is not faqir, is cautious, is abel, is baligh, blah blah blah. They have the money. It's wajib for them to pay on behalf of themselves. Yeah, ihtiyat wajib, that person pay the fitriya of himself or herself. So this is overall, brothers and sisters, the ahkam of the ahkam of zakat al-fitr. Again, inshallah, we're going to go to the moon sighting right now and try, inshallah, they have some du'as for that. Find it in Mafatih, the books of du'a, inshallah, at the time of Hilal. You can use those apps that tells you exactly the location of the moon, inshallah. You can use them as well. It's must have. It's a good thing to do. And then if you saw it, inshallah, you can let us know that you saw the moon as well, inshallah. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us tawfiq and opportunity, inshallah, and accept all our du'as and prayers, despite the fact it might be tonight, the Eid, tomorrow or not. I want all of you guys to keep in your mind, brothers and sisters, that we are at the end of month of Ramadan. We're breathing the last moments and seconds in this holy month. How fast it went, right? How attached we were to this holy month. We want to just cry when we see Ramadan is going. That beautiful, amazing, kind friends came to us. And now, he's leaving us. It's indeed very emotional to see. We were, although in the pandemic, we were online. For the first time in our lives, we had experienced, this type of Ramadan. It was a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For the first time, seeing families next to each other under one roof, next to each other doing amal, fasting together, seeing each other all the time. It's indeed tawfiq from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now this beautiful month is at the end. We're breathing in the last moments. The Eid of Fitr is a very special Eid that as many as Allah forgave during the whole month will be forgiven the night of the Eid al-Fitr. Very important, very special. Tonight, if tonight is the Eid, before you put the food in your mouth, look at the sky, talk to Allah, say, Allah, 30 days almost, I fasted, I worshiped you, I recited the Quran, I did everything. So, in this, towards the end, give the best of your blessings, give the best of your rahmat and na'mat, and the rahmat that you give to the best of your ibad to all of us, inshallah, to our community, and be able to, inshallah, get rid of this current situation, go back, see each other, inshallah, and have the tawfiq to see everyone healthy and safe, inshallah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajjal farajahum. Allahumma ajjal waliyaka al-faraj wal-afiyata wal-nas wa mudda fi umri al-sharif. وزين الأرض بطول بغائه واجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره وشيعته يا رحمن يا رحيم ثبت قلوبنا على دينك يا الله بحق الحسين بحق أهل بيت. We ask you hasten the dhuhr of our Imam Mahdi. Ya Allah, accept from us all our a'mal, our ibadat, our worship, all of our efforts during the holy month of Ramadan. Ya Allah, Rahman Rahim, make this month, the end of this month, the next month, the blessings, the rahmah, the beauty for all of us, for our communities and for our families. Ya Allah, keep us everyone healthy and safe, salamat and salim, inshallah, to be able to do more ibadah, more worship, to be able to do our dues and responsibilities towards the mu'mineen and mu'minat, inshallah. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, we ask you humbly, those who have hajat and requests, my dear, beautiful community, mashallah, brothers and sisters, all Bay Area and specifically ICZ community, give them the best of khair hajat that they have, Ya Allah, Ya Rahman. Those who are struggling during this difficult time, Ya Allah, provide opportunities for their freedom. Those brothers and sisters in Yemen, Bahrain, Kashmir, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, or anywhere around the world, Palestine, Ya Allah, provide opportunities for their freedom. Those who are sick, cure them, and those who passed away, send the tawab and reward out of our majalis and gathering to the soul, inshallah. Rahimallah and yaqra al-Fatiha ma salawat. Before I go, inshallah, they will announce the programs and a'mal for the day of Eid, inshallah, if it is tomorrow. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Thank you all for a wonderful speech on this specific topic today. I just want to finish up the program, but before I do finish this program, I would like to announce for tomorrow's, or not sure yet, tomorrow or day after, the day of Eid actually. The program starts with Dua and Dua at 8 o'clock, 8:40 Quran recitation, and then after that, Eid greeting at 8:50. We'll have a break for 10 minutes or 15. Then we will start our Salat at 9:05. 10 o'clock is Eid greeting. I see the families, and 10:15 is the Ziyarat Imam Hussain. You are all welcome to watch this program uh, online on our ICZ website. For Fitra, you can go to ICZ website, and there is a link which you can use to send the Fitra. Maulana has already highlighted the detail about Sayyid and non-Sayyid and all of those nitty-gritty details, what you need to be keeping in your mind. And this actually concludes our program for the day. Happy Eid Mubarak. Khuda Hafiz.